Hi guys, Ellie Sachs here, and today I'm going to be comparing my studio microphones. So let's go.
Ellie Sachs. Go!
Today I'm going to be playing the saxophone into each of my studio microphones so that we can compare how they sound, benefits and the negatives of each one. We have 4 microphones with us today. First up, we've got the SE Electronics Titan, which retailed around £1,100, but you can't buy it new anymore, so you have to look it up on eBay. They do come up sometimes, so you can buy them secondhand. I think we picked ours up for around £450, so that is the SE Electronic Titan. We also have today the Neumann TLM103. It retails at around £875. We then have the Rode NT1A, which retails at around £145. And last but not least, we have got the Shure Sm7B, which retails at around £375. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the saxophone into each one, and we're going to be comparing them, and then at the end I'm going to rate them 1 to 4 based on which one I think is the best for saxophone studio work. So let's go. So I'm going to be playing the solo from Man with Red Face. It shows right from the bottom of the saxophone right to the top, fast notes, sustained notes, so it's definitely the perfect thing to test out these microphones. Okay, so that was the SE Electronics Titan. So this is the one that I've actually been recording on for my past couple of tracks, and I do really like this microphone. One thing to mention about it is that it has a titanium covered capsule. Most condenser microphones have a gold covered capsule, so it does make it sound really quite different. It feels like it's got a lot of resistance, which is sometimes great for such a loud instrument as the saxophone. It cuts out a lot of background noise, so any room noise, key clicks, breath noises, spit noises, it does cut them out really well, but I do feel like it means that you don't quite get all of that information from the top end of the saxophone, so it does create a bit more of a dull sound. I think a really great part of the saxophone sound is those really high frequencies, and I do feel like this microphone doesn't quite represent them. It means that when you end up processing the saxophone sound later on, you need to put more excitement and more high end into that saxophone sound. But on the plus side, it means you're not having to cut out lots of other noises like key clicks, which are really noisy on this saxophone. If I could put it into layman's terms, I would probably say it feels a little bit like you're playing saxophone through treacle to get to that sound that comes into the laptop. I'm putting in a lot of effort this end to try and get punch and attack through to the computer via this microphone, and I don't feel like it quite translates that. Saying that, it does mean that it has a lovely warm sound because it's not putting in those high frequencies as much. This is the only large diaphragm condenser microphone that I have that has actual buttons on the microphone that allow you to change the settings. So it has a -10 dB patch, which is extremely useful when you're going between vocals and saxophone recording, and it has different pickup patterns, so you can go between different pickup patterns on the microphone. It also has a high pass frequency filter, so it's got really cool features on it, and I think it does represent the saxophone in a really warm, really understated way, which is really nice. On to the next microphone. Next up, we have the Neumann TLM103. So let's see what it sounds like. that the Neumann TLM103 sounds awesome. It is such an accurate representation of the sound. It has beautiful warm mids and it really brings out the warmth in the low end of the saxophone, but it's also got a really good top end response. It sounds rich and full. You do get more of the other noises around as well. Obviously, we're not in a studio room here, so if you're not in a treated room, I think we're getting a lot more reflections off the walls, and it's picking up all the key clicks, the breath sounds, the spit sounds in the reed. So you do hear all of those noises as well, so you will have to work on getting rid of those in post-production. However, I think it's got a beautiful velvety sound. It really brings out the rich tone of the saxophone, which you do lose sometimes on the SE Electronic Titan. Overall, I think the sound that's coming out of that microphone is pretty damn awesome.
Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel!
One thing I will say for it, even though it allows those key click sounds in, it doesn't have a boost around that. It's a nice warm area of the microphone, so I don't find them particularly obtrusive. This microphone doesn't have any buttons on it. What you see is what you get, but I think what you get is pretty awesome. Next up, the Rode NT1A. The Rode NT1A. I think this sounds a little bit like it could come out of Star Wars, like C-3PO, AT-AT. Let's hear how it sounds. The Rode NT1A is by far the cheapest out of all the four microphones, but I do think you can tell. It's a lot brighter than the past two microphones, and I think the sound's a lot thinner. It really brings out the treble tones in the saxophone, which is quite a good thing because you do want a poppy, bright sound in dance music. However, it doesn't quite bring out those beautiful mid-tones, so it does feel a little bit thin and a little bit bright. It hasn't got very good rejection, so you do get a lot of the noises coming through, like key clicks and breath and spit and reflections. I think in this microphone it does boost those frequencies quite a lot, so I find the key clicks quite offensive. This mic would be far better for a vocalist rather than a sax player really, but saying that, it is a really good starter mic because it's not too expensive and it's a good little studio mic. You do have to do quite a lot of work to the sound, however you can do that work and it can come out absolutely fine product at the end of it. It is definitely worth noting that this microphone is at least £200 cheaper than the next step up microphone that we are comparing today. So for the price, it does a really good job. It's a great little starter mic. If you're on a bit of a budget, go for the Rode. Up next, our final microphone, the Sm7B. The Shure Sm7B. Let's give it a go. That was the Shure Sm7B. This is the only microphone out. This is the only microphone out of all four that is not a condenser mic. This one is a dynamic mic. That does mean that it's not as sensitive as the other microphones, so it does come in super quiet. You will need a really nice preamp to boost that and make it sound really nice. That does mean that in a live context, it will be far better than the other microphones because it wouldn't feed back and that's why lots of people use Shure microphones to perform live. It's a super popular podcast microphone, and that's because it's got really good off-axis rejection, so it's only picking up directly what's in front of it, so it's perfect for podcasts and for talking into. I think you heard that in the recording just there. There was a lot less noise from the room, so if you don't have a treated studio, this microphone might be a really good option for you to be doing recordings in, because it's not picking up all of those slap backs from the wall and all of those reflections, and you're not getting that many clicks and that much breath noise, so you're not going to have to treat the sound to get rid of those in post-production. Saying that, I don't think it picks up quite as big a range as the Neumann, so you don't get all of that information that you'd really like to then treat the sound afterwards. However, I think for the price, it's an awesome microphone, and I love that you can just play into it anywhere and it'll get rid of all that noise around you. So this is perfect if you don't have a treated studio. If you're playing in your bedroom and you just want to get something recorded in, this microphone would be perfect for you. It does a lovely job of bringing out the top end without losing the low mids. I think it loses a little bit of warmth on the Neumann, but I will say that I think this is probably the most accurate representation of what the saxophone sounds like. I think out of all four of the microphones, this microphone has the most ready to go sound off the bat. It sounds pretty great going straight in. Saying that, I like to have lots of control over my sound. When you're mixing it into a track, you want to know which bits you want to pull out of the sound to make it stick out, but also sit really nicely in the track. So that's where the TLM really does come into its own. It gives you so much information that you can make your sound what it needs to be within a track. So even though I do love that this gives us an accurate representation, I would use the TLM if I was in a studio. If I didn't have a studio, I'd be using this one. So let's rank these microphones in order for saxophone in the studio. Number 4 is coming in with the Rode. Sorry, buddy, I know you are by far the cheapest microphone out of all 4, but I think the sound was just a little bit too thin in comparison to the other 3 microphones. So the Rode comes in 4th for me, but it's a great starter mic at just around £145. In 3rd place for me is the SE Electronics Titan microphone. I love this microphone. I've used it for lots of my recent tracks, and I think it does give you a really nice warm sound. However, I do miss that top end, and I don't like having to drag that out in post-production. It feels a little bit like you're playing through treacle on this microphone, but it's a beautiful microphone. It's particularly beautiful for vocals. We've had some amazing vocalists recording on it. Charlotte Haining recorded in Don't Lie to Me on this microphone, and it gives so much depth to her sound. I absolutely love it. But for me, on saxophone, I feel like I have to try a little bit too hard to get all that punch through and to translate it through this microphone. So that's why it's coming up in 3rd place. I've decided to give the silver trophy to the Shure Sm7B. I think it's pretty awesome that this thing can come in 2nd place, with it being around £700 cheaper than the SE Electronics Titan. The Shure Sm7B would be perfect if you don't have a studio or a treated room. It doesn't let in lots of surrounding noise and lots of reflections, key clicks, spit, all of those noises. So it does a really good job of a focused and really great representing sound. Right off the bat, it probably gives the best sound. However, I don't think it quite gives you as much information as you need to then mess around with your sound and make it sit perfectly in a track. But this is a great microphone for £375, and I think if you're just wanting to record something in your bedroom, this microphone would be pretty awesome. So you guessed it, the winner is the Neumann TLM103. What can I say about this microphone? It is beautiful. It's got such a gorgeous velvety sound. It picks up those mids and it picks up the bass, and it's got a great high-end response. I think it makes your saxophone sound bright but also warm, and it brings in so much information for you then to mess around with in post-production. So I've got to say the Neumann took it for me, and I'm really excited to be recording in some new tracks on this microphone. So that's it, guys. Compared all 4. What's your favorite studio microphone? Drop it in the comments below, or if you've got any questions about these microphones or what I would recommend for you guys, whether it's for gigging or in a studio, just drop me a comment. Remember to subscribe for some more behind the scenes of Ellie Sax and some more reviews on pieces of equipment and handy little tips and tricks. This is Ellie Sax signing out.
The next day.
Hi everyone, Future Ellie here. We figured you might want to hear how the microphones sound side by side. So here is a full solo of Man with the Red Face flipping between all the different microphones.